plugin suggestions. We'll talk through all the ones we have and stuff, so we'll dig into that. If you haven't got food yet, please do, with water and soup and all that fun stuff. But welcome. Glad y'all are here today. For those that don't know me, I'm Mickey Mellon. I have a small team off the Meredith Square. We do lots of WordPressy stuff. We've got a few of us here today. Ashley and Brooke are with us today. Allie's still raising an infant. She'll be back soon, and Chantel's at home actually working. So someone needs to get something done. What's that? Yeah, she will. Oh yes, she will be back.
She will be back.
Oh yes, oh yes. Yeah, next month we'll start seeing her a little bit. You'll see her maybe in like March. So we'll see how that goes. If you're new to the group, allthingswordpress.com has all kinds of info about us and other ways to connect. Our Facebook group is probably the best one to join just because that's somewhat active. If you have questions between meetups, you can ask it on there, and hopefully others in the group can help you get your questions answered. LinkedIn group that's starting to come along, and then a Google Plus community that is not so much, but it's there. We also have a Slack team we set up. You go to allthingswordpress.com/Slack. You can join that. If you're not familiar with Slack, it's kind of a perpetual chat room sort of environment. We use it a ton at Green Melon just for the 5 of us, just kind of a water cooler to talk about clients and issues and who's bringing lunch in, are we in the office tomorrow, just lots of stuff. And so we have one for this, you can talk about WordPressy kind of stuff. So that's pretty fun. We also have, I mentioned last time, the WordPress news section I've added where I'm posting stuff most every day, just WordPress related news. So if you want to keep up with that, you can sign and get a little email, and all you'll get is those little news stories. So kind of keep up on what's happening with WordPress. That's a good way to do it there. Upcoming meetups, next weekend here, actually be in the small room across the hall. This room's taken, so it's a limited capacity, about 10 spots left. But Erica Warren from Creation Speak will be coming to talk about digital storytelling with your existing customers. She's brilliant, and it should be awesome, so it'll be very good there. Go ahead.
Is that October 27th?
Yes, and next Thursday, a week from today.
Are you recording?
Yes, yeah, we'll record that. Yeah, that one, we should have Utsu back here to do the nice recording, but we'll have the, if nothing else, we'll have the Samsung recording too, so it works out. We'll get a recording somehow. The following Thursday, November 1st, Diana's leading a cool idea, a roundtable called What Do You Do Anyway? Which I love this idea. It's basically, I guess you can maybe explain it, but I think it's, we all know sort of what each other does. I know Emery does some SEO stuff, you know, we kind of know what we do, but it's going to be more of it, spend a few minutes and actually get to know what all of us do so we can use each other's services better. Not only so I can hire you, but so you can hire me, and so just, yeah, we get to know each other better beyond just the, Diana does development stuff, I think, you know, like we get a better idea of what everyone does. So whether you're a designer or developer or copywriter, whatever you want to do, just get in there and it'll be a good place to kind of network. I don't want to call it a networking thing, but that's sort of what it is, though. Just to understand each other's strengths and weaknesses. So, anything you want to add? All right, that was good. So that's 2 weeks from today in here. November 29th, Kathy moved hers next month due to the elections and stuff. So hers over in the East Cobb Government Center, lunchtime on Tuesday the 29th, 18 basic SEO tips to get you started. So meetup.com/WP Atlanta. For info on her, that should be a good little group. And then for us next month, we have nothing else. The 24th, the 4th Thursday is Thanksgiving, so clearly we're not here. And then the 17th, we just could not get a space. This room was taken, the little room was taken, the other library was taken, the government center was taken, so we was like, you know what, we'll just not worry about it. So come to Diana's, come to Kathy's, and then we have a few in December, and we'll chat about those later. Carl Becker, come on down. Thank you to all the great food. This is due to Carl and Tom and Chi, and Carl will say a little bit about both.
Thank you. So, my name is Carl Becker. I'm the owner of clickhost.com. The company's been around since 2000. I bought it in 2010. So if you need a local hosting provider, we would be happy to host your website for you. I have a bowl, so if you want to drop your card, you can win some more Tom and Chi and some other goodies. So you just want to pass that around. Couple of things that make us unique. All our hosting is on SSD drives. That's really fast. And a lot of WordPress is a database access, so you need fast access to your database. We also offer free spam filtering. So both filtering emails coming in. A lot of people forget about filtering emails going out. Because if somebody hacks your account and they start spamming people, that's bad for you. So we also filter outbound so that bad stuff doesn't go out of your account. We also offer free malware monitoring and backups. We do 4 backups a day for 30 days. It's free. It's included in your plan. If you hit the wrong button and something blows up, we can restore your website for you, and it's no charge. It's included in our hosting plan. So I have a flyer in the back if you're interested, and thank you everybody for being here.
And then, hey, do you want to talk about Tom and Chi as well?
Oh yeah.
You want to do that too? You got your.
Yeah. So we have a special offer for our meetup members. If you use that promo code, and I'll post it to the meetup group as well, you can get 20% off any of our hosting plans.
And then, yeah.
And then Tom and G, they provide the food. Please support them. Great, very healthy food.
Yeah, go to their Facebook page and give them a like, and maybe give them a review if you've enjoyed it. Just we appreciate them bringing that. Doesn't cost you anything, doesn't cost me anything. So it's awesome that these guys help support us. If you're not familiar with this location, they're up like Barrett Parkway and 41. There's Carmax there. There's a whole new Whole Foods mess going there. They're in that shopping center on that corner. So if you're up that way, go support Eric and his team there. Yeah, some awesome they are. So essential WordPress plugins you need to be using. We're basically going to just dig into a whole bunch of plugins and see where it goes from there. I had tried to group them into maybe SEO ones and backup ones and stuff, but so many crossover, I just kind of made them alphabetical, and then we'll just add new ones as we go. I'll do it live on the web here, so if you have other ones, we can pull them up and look at them and talk and just kind of see where we go. A few thoughts before we go in. My main thought on themes is themes should be dumb and pretty. Themes should not have any functionality. We talked about this with Kathy's meetup a lot a couple weeks ago. Themes should be, that's why I like StudioPress. Their themes are pretty good looking and don't have any added functionality. You add that via plugins. Things like Aveda and some of those have tons of stuff baked in and can cause such headaches down the road. So themes should be dumb and pretty, so you find you a dumb, pretty theme, then we'll talk about the great plugins you use then to add the functionality and make it dance the way you want it to go. And quickly, before we get further to just finding embedding plugins, just a few tips on that. If you pull up any plugin in the repository, you should see this along the side. And it's worth just looking at a few things in here to say, how do I know if this plugin's any good or not? The best way is probably go to our Facebook group and ask, because someone's probably used it or had a bad experience or whatever. But if you just want to look at it and make a quick decision, this can be very, very helpful. Compatible up to, it should be up higher than that. It should be compatible up to 4.6.1 today, or at least pretty close to it. Last updated is worth looking at. It should be certainly within the year, ideally within 6 weeks or so. They got to keep it updated just to keep up with WordPress and adding features and stuff. Active installs is worth looking at. It certainly could be a brand new awesome plugin, but typically if it doesn't have a lot of installs, it's maybe not very good. So it's looking to see how many active installs there are, which is nice. WordPress used to show total downloads. So there was some like next-gen gallery and old plugins that used to be great, now are horrible. But you look and say, wow, it's 10 million downloads, it must be great. Now you can see how many people are actually using it today. And that can be a lot more valuable metric. Look at the ratings people give and go give ratings on plugins, good or bad, help everyone out to understand what's going on. And then look at the bottom support thread. You can go to the support forum for that plugin, see how many people are asking questions and how many are getting answered. So this one is not great there. They've had 2 questions and neither one has been resolved. But you can click and see what they are. Maybe they were dumb questions or maybe the developer's not answering, and that's a red flag. But using all that stuff, you can kind of decide whether a plugin's worth trying or not. Certainly back up your site before you do it or use ClickHost or someone in case it goes sideways and breaks things, you can restore back to where you were. But yeah, that's just some quick thoughts on how to look. But again, we're going to look at a lot of specific plugins and see what they do. So. Yeah, so digging in, again, I've got a few tabs at the top there, but we'll certainly add more. I added a few that you guys mentioned in your RSVP, add a lot of the ones that we use. We have a kind of a core set of maybe 20 or 25 that we look at for any site. We don't load all of them on any site. We try to load ideally 6 or 8 on any given site, but certainly can expand to more depending on their needs. But not only should themes be dumb, but you should use as few plugins as possible, just for the sake of speed and not having conflicts and stuff. But there's a lot of good ones out there that can be tough to figure out. So Akismet, ironically, is the first one alphabetically. It's the one that comes pre-installed with WordPress. Basically just helps with comment spam. If you have lots of spammers saying, hey, they're stupid little comments, this will help block all that stuff. The one tricky thing with Akismet you should know is that they make it look like you need to pay for it. You totally should if you have a couple bucks a month to throw at them, but you don't have to. When you go to get your key to plug in, you have to buy a key. You can drag a little slider and say $0. I don't want to pay for it. They'll still give you the key and you can still use it. Again, I encourage you, though, if you use it, especially if you're a developer and use it on a bunch of sites, I think I slid ours up like $50 a month or something, so we use it on 150 sites. It's still 30 cents a month a site. Totally worth it. So that does a great job if you allow comments. If you don't have comments on your site, if you have them all disabled, I'd probably turn this off too then. Again, fewer plugins is better, but for most of us, that's a good one to have along. All-in-one SEO pack. We'll talk about Yoast near the end, but Emery, I know, mentioned this one instead, and being the SEO guy he is, I want to hear some thoughts on why.
It just seems more stable to me, and I've used it since way back. And I know there's some nuances, there's some small differences, but this one just seems to be there when I need it. Everything seems to work.
Gotcha. All right, fair enough. And yeah, Yoast does have, every 6 months or so they'll release an update that, oops, has a big bug in it, go back and fix it. So that's certainly valid. And frankly, I think Yoast is probably more popular, not for the plugin itself, but because of all the other SEO stuff he does. And oh, by the way, here's the plugin that goes with it, and sort of gets lumped in rather than necessarily being better. Yeah.
I prefer this because it doesn't give you a little stop or anything, because I don't want clients to get hung up on that. They end up writing crappy copy if they're trying to get green light.
Yep.
And they just need to write. So, and there's no way to turn that off. So
Gotcha.
that's why I.
Very good point. We'll look at that on Yoast. But yeah, Yoast will give you lots of red, yellow, and green lights on how much copy you've written if you use the keyword enough, and people will get hung up on that and write poor copy for the sake of making green lights, and that just isn't good for anyone. So, let's see. AMP, we talked about AMP a lot a couple months ago. Google's accelerated mobile pages. So it's a plugin from Automatic, the folks sort of behind WordPress. So it's a great plugin if you blog. This plugin will make your pages AMP friendly, or make your posts, AMP friendly, not your pages. You'll start noticing this on your phone. I've already been trained. If I see in my search results, I see that little lightning bolt by a result, I know I want to click on it because I know it's going to load super fast and not have stuff popping up in my face and all the horrible experiences we have on mobile devices. This will help your site do that. It's pretty much automatic. You install it, it mostly does the job. If you get into it more, we have a video from our meetup, I think it was 2 months ago, where we dug into it more and tackled some of the trouble spots you might hit. But in essence, if you were to go to Green Mountain Media, go to our blog, pull up any blog post and put /AMP at the end, you'll see the AMP version instead. And it automatically puts the code in there so Google knows, like, here's the real post, here's the AMP version of the post, and knows to keep them separate so it's not duplicate content, and does almost all the dirty work for you. So if you write a lot, it's probably worth having. Miller?
Does this also change it in an RSS feed?
No, it has nothing to do with RSS feed. It just,
No, I mean, it won't send out the AMP version in a feed.
Correct. No, it'll send the main version out everywhere. It's just that Google knows, like, ooh, this page came up, and I know there's an AMP version, and I know they're on a phone, so for that person, I'm showing the AMP one instead. But for feeds and for any desktop searches or anything else, they're going to see your normal site just like they would before.
Okay.
So it's just Google will know if they're on a phone and there's an AMP version ready, they'll see it. And it takes some time because Google has to index these separately. So you may have 100 blog posts and they're all in Google's index, and you add AMP. Well, tomorrow you're going to have 1 AMP post in there, and then 2, and then 5. It'll take some time to get in there. But Google's pushing this more and more and more, so it's worth doing. But again, we covered the whole meetup on this not too long ago, so I would certainly check that out if you're not familiar with it. Beaver Builder, we've talked about a good bit. If you get into page building stuff, Beaver Builder's relatively regarded as the best. I don't think it's unanimous, but I think most of the time people consider that the best. Divi would be the other one that's close. But what do you guys use for page builders? What's your page builder of choice these days? Divi?
That's a paid.
Diana says none of the above. And that's good. We typically avoid them too. We use Beaver Builder a little bit, but for the most part, we try to do more custom templates and stuff to make it easier for clients to build. But if you just want to be able to build your own thing with some drag and drop, Beaver Builder's a good way to go. The free, they do have a free version, I think. Yes, Ashley. I think they do. I thought they. Okay, maybe not.
Maybe they do, but I don't know.
But then they have a couple. Yeah, well, here we're live. Let's see what we got. I should know this.
I know we don't.
That standard's $99. I thought they had a free one somehow too, though.
I thought I heard that it
Yeah,
would go
light
to the
version.
WordPress.
Yeah, light. There you go, light version. There we go. But yeah, then even then it's $99 for unlimited sites. So I mean, that's not a bad deal. Once you get it, you can use it wherever you want, and then you can pay a little more to get a few more features in. Let's see, Blank Slate. So this is one from Aaron, the team at Sideways 8, that works great in conjunction with something like Beaver Builder. It's a cool plugin that just gives you a new page template. So when you're editing a page, it says, hey, do you want to use the full width template or the sidebar template or the blank slate template? Puts one in there, and it makes it literally a completely blank page on your site. No header, no footer, no sidebar, no nothing. And so then you use that and put Beaver Builder on the page, and you have a blank slate just to build a nice landing page or something. We talked about email marketing. We talked about using those in conjunction there, where if you use just a blank page on your site for a landing page, you're still going to have the whole header and the menu and all that, which may be okay, but typically on a landing page, you want it to be just clean, like download my ebook or whatever you want them to do. Using blank slate to give you a blank thing, and then Beaver Builder to put together a page can work very well. Joel?
Can you make can you use a blank slate to create all pages on a site that are kind of all freeform?
Yeah, you could use it on any page you want. Yeah, and still find a template, because you still need a template installed. But then every time you go to edit a page, say I want to use the blank slate on this one, and blank slate on this one, and yeah, you can sort of do a whole. Beaver Builder's theme, I think, is kind of like that. I wish Chris Scholl was here. I know she uses it a lot. Any of you guys use the Beaver Builder theme? I feel like their theme is pretty much that, where it's kind of a blank theme and you kind of build each page as you go, but I'm not positive. If you post on our Facebook group, Chris would know. Let's see. Coming soon in maintenance mode by CProd, a horrible long name, but good coming soon. Joel's like what we talked about earlier, coming soon page. This is kind of nice just to puts up just a single page in front of your whole site that says, hey, they say don't use the word coming soon, but you can kind of give your contact info, a little form and a picture and whatever you want, and meanwhile be building the full site behind it. What's neat with this is when you log into the site, then the whole, you don't even see the coming soon page. You see the front page, it all acts like a full normal site, but anyone that stumbles upon the site will see the coming soon page, so they won't mess with it. So this would be a good way for building a new site for a client to kind of keep it locked up and say, hey, if you guys log in, you can go see it and play with it, but then if someone else stumbles upon it, they won't see it. Diana.
The other good thing about this is that they have two modes, coming soon and maintenance. You have to take a site offline to do some upgrades or whatever. Google doesn't like it when it sees coming soon on an existing site. They even get penalized for that. So there's a second mode for maintenance, which lets Google still see your site.
Gotcha. Oh, interesting. So Google will see the full site, but users will see maintenance. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, you don't get penalized for the site being offline if it's in maintenance mode.
Gotcha. Interesting.
Yeah.
Good to know. So, yeah, it's a maintenance mode. So there you go. Good little plugin. Let's see. Enviro Gallery, just our favorite gallery. If you need the native WordPress galleries are pretty good anymore. They do a good job, especially with Jetpack, which we'll talk about more. But if you want a better gallery, Enviro does a very nice job just for tiled photo galleries. You know, here's 16 photos. It'll do ones where they're all smushed together. Some are different sizes. It kind of wedges them in. It can do some neat things. I mean, it's nothing magic, but it's just a well-respected gallery. There's a lot of galleries out there, and you may find some are good, some are bad, whatever. If you need one that you know is good, there you go. They have a light version, they have a paid version for $50 or something, if you want to pay more, which again, I usually encourage if you're going to use their stuff, you know, help these guys out, keep making it better for us. Other galleries you guys like? I think it's the only gallery I have in here. Yeah, pretty much, that's good. There are others out there again, but we either use just the one built into WordPress, which is pretty good in most cases, or this if you want to get a little bit fancier. Events Manager, Ashley. There's a lot of events managers out there, but this one Ashley likes, and I'm not sure why. So.
Yeah, we get the pro version, and I just like all the options that you have. You can customize it down to exactly what it looks like. The template for the actual feed of the events. There's just so many options of what you can do that it makes it easy to customize to whatever the designer designed it.
I was saying, it's easier to design with CSS, I think,
Yeah.
too, where some of them kind of have their own design and it's hard to adjust.
Right. Yeah,
This
this
one
one's
is-
completely customized.
This one inherits it'll blend in with your site better.
Yeah.
So we use that one quite a bit. So it's just Events Manager. WordPress are,
Ticketing,
Um,
sell tickets to events.
you can, there's like a booking feature.
Okay.
yeah, so you can sell.
I'm totally over events presence.
Yeah, I really like it.
Yeah, choose actually if you do ticketing, and yes, you can do ticketing and paid tickets and RSVPs and all that kind of stuff if you want to. Most of ours we don't, but you can, again, it's easy to toggle on or off as you need. So, and how much is the pro one? Do you remember? It was like 30 or something?
It wasn't much.
Yeah, it was relatively inexpensive for the pro version. But again, you have light ones, you can try it out, see if it works for you, and then
It did take a few uses to kind of understand everything, because there are so many different options that there would be times where like, oh wait, I forgot to turn that one thing off that I finally found. Like it takes a little bit to it's a little bit of a learning curve, but
Yeah.
it's a good thing that there are that many options because it's super customizable.
cool. Very good. Oh yeah, Facet. Tell us about Facet as well.
So I really like Facet for everything filtering. We had a site that we had a custom post type built, and you could basically create custom taxonomies.
Is it keep on?
Yeah.
I'll pull that up. Yeah, keep talking.
For day of the week. I think there was like a gender one. But Facet creates these drop-down menus. You can do checkboxes. Scroll down. So we have a taxonomy for a live stage, age group, gender, day of week, and location. So depending on what they select, if they add a new one, it adds to the drop-down menu. And then you create a template of what the actual feed looks like underneath, and it auto changes everything based on your selection. So it's just a really good advanced filter plugin.
The one. All right. That's where I have to go. Cool. Still, we want to. In Facet, I think it doesn't have a free. It has a demo, but not a free version.
Yes.
I wonder how much it is. Let's see.
I want to say it was 99.
79. 79 for up to 3 sites. So again, if you use it a couple times, it's not too bad. Let's see. Oh, so this I just did a search for Genesis Simple, because if you use Genesis, you use StudioPress themes like we do, there's a ton of Genesis Simple plugins that work well. The ones we like in particular, Genesis Simple Hooks. So Genesis has a bunch of hooks in it where you can just kind of insert code in random places on a page. And this, instead of having to write code to do it, you just kind of has text boxes say, right after the header, insert this AdSense code, put an ad there. And right after this, insert this code to put analytics there. Kind of a nice way to do that. Genesis Simple Edits is another good one where it gives you just a few choices of where to change things, but it lets you change the footer text in there very easily. Lets you change the byline info. This was posted by Mickey on this date in this category. You can say no, don't show the category of the date, or you can kind of customize that very easily. Just lets you change a few things without having to get into code. Genesis Simple Sidebars. Do we use that one anymore? I don't think we do, but that one can be useful. You can create new sidebars and then assign them to specific pages and do some fun things with that. I think there's one more. Oh, the columns one. Is that anything
It's
else?
not a Genesis one.
Oh, okay.
The name's not Genesis, it's advanced.
Is it Genesis specific though? It's not?
I don't know if it's Genesis specific.
Okay.
I think
But
it's
there's-
just advanced column shortcodes.
Gotcha. But there's a lot of Genesis ones. If you use StudioPress's themes, the Genesis themes, lots of good plugins that are made just for that to help take it even further for you. Let's see. Next up, GM Blockbots. This is the one we wrote, but it's worth using just because it keeps your analytics clean. It's a very, very simple plugin. I'm all about speed there. It blocks, I don't know, I have a list here of all the bots it blocks. There we go. Pretty good list of ones. But all the ones, you'll see them in your Google Analytics. You say, wow, why am I getting all this traffic from, best SEO software? Maybe I'll go check it out. And it's all just pure spam. I don't know who checks that stuff out, but it must work because they keep adding more and more and more. But again, I think it's kind of like spam where if they get 1 out of 1 million people to look, that pays their bills because they can get it on so many. So this just blocks those referrals from hitting your site and just doesn't help your site faster, rank better, or anything like that. It just makes your analytics cleaner. It'll actually make your traffic look like it's going down. I have one client that's not happy when we installed this because their traffic dropped and they have lots of ad revenue they try to sell based on like, this is better, this is your legit traffic, and they don't like that, but it's good. So just make your analytics more useful. Yeah. The good thing is, because all these just kind of hit your site and leave, if you install this, your bounce rate will get better, your pages per visitor will get better, like all the metrics will look better per user. Because have fewer users on the site, but it's okay because they're all garbage. But this one we update fairly often. The way I did it, there's a few plugins like this, and others are very good too. Some of them hit a database to get the latest updates automatically or add to your database. And that's fine, but I want to keep it simple and have no risk of breaking anything. So we just have these hard-coded in the plugin, then we update the plugin every couple weeks with a few new ones. That way it's super fast, super simple, not hitting the database, not connecting to another server anywhere. It just works real fast. You have to update more often. So good little plugin, and we check most of the boxes on the side there for, let's see, 0-1 support threads. So oops, but trust us, it's okay. Let's see. Google Analytics by Monster Insights. So this used to be Google Analytics by Yoast. For a long time, I didn't want to use it, and I still don't in some cases because, again, fewer plugins is better, and I'd rather just take that analytics code and put it directly in the theme and save a plugin. However, with AMP support and analytics get weird trying to play together, and this is made to work with that AMP plugin we talked about earlier, so that we can track users on AMP if you just install this plugin and use it. So now I use it most of the time just for that reason. And it has other cool tracking things built in, but Yeah, the main reason is you have AMP, it'll actually track the AMP users. Emery, what do you do for analytics usually?
I've looked at this, and I can't remember what I use.
Okay.
There's another plugin out there that's really popular.
Yeah, there's a handful of real popular analytics ones, yeah. And they're all about the same. You can't do what's analytics on your site. There's not a whole lot they can do. Again, I like this because of the way it talks to AMP. But. Yeah, that's one, Google Analyticator. That's a popular one, yeah. But again, that one I know I didn't want to use because again, it's a fine plugin, it does the job, but I'd rather just hard code that in and save, one less plugin, one less, make the site load, 2% faster, if that. But every little bit helps. iTheme security. We'll talk about a few security pieces in here. This years ago was Better WP Security. This is the one we use on all of our client sites. This one and WordFence and this one are very similar. We'll talk about WordFence later. Frankly, the reason I use this on our sites is that they both have premium versions, and this premium version cost us a couple $100 for all of our clients, and WordFence would have been a couple $1,000 for all of our clients. So I'm like, well, if they're about the same, we'll go with the one that's a little cheaper. So, not to say it's better, but it does a very nice job just locking things down and trying to keep spammers out. It's really a combination of keeping your site secure. We've done whole talks on this. Carl did one not too long ago. We have the video for, but it's really keeping everything updated, having a decent security plugin, and having a decent host. We don't get hacked on ClickHost like we do, even fully updated on GoDaddy's older servers and some of that stuff. So it's a lot of pieces to keeping your site secure, but this is a good one. And even the free version does a pretty good job. The premium one just has a few more pieces that are kind of nice, but they do a good job. What else do you guys like for security? I know, Carl, you're a big security fan. We'll talk about that one in a bit. Anyone else? WordFence, I know someone mentioned. Is that it?
All in one.
Okay. Why do you like that one?
Just covers all the bases between WordFence and all in one. It's everything I could possibly need.
So you use WordFence and all-in-one?
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Cool.
Yeah, they don't really lock horns from what I've seen.
Gotcha. Yeah, a lot of WordFence, tends to do things different than the others, which means they play nicely, which is good. So cool. Jetpack. We'll spend a few minutes on Jetpack, Diana's favorite plugin. I really like Jetpack. I like it if you're going to use enough pieces from it. So what Jetpack is, and we'll look at the individual pieces in a sec, it's basically like 40 plugins in one, which means it's a pretty big plugin. You talk about fewer plugins is good, but smaller plugins are good too, and this is not a small plugin. However, there's been a lot of tests that if you use just 2 or 3 of the items in there, it's a lot faster than if you use those 2 or 3 pieces as separate plugins. If you install it just for one piece, it's kind of overkill, but if you use it for a few, it can do well. So I'll show you some of the pieces that it has in here. Go to the back of our site here. A lot of options in here. We'll walk through them kind of quickly. Site stats gives you a quick look at WordPress stats on your site, similar to the analytics, but different. I turn it off on some of our sites just to keep speed up a tiny bit, but it does a nice job just to give you a quick look at stats. Has sharing icons for sharing to Facebook and Twitter and all that after your posts. Publicize is kind of the opposite, where when you hit publish, it'll automatically put it on your Facebook or on your Twitter for you, if you want to do that. Related posts is a good one. This is a good use of Jetpack. So there's other plugins for related posts like Yarp, yet another related post plugin, which web hosts hate because it's a grind on the server to do all that math every time to figure out related posts. What's neat with Jetpack with some of their extensions like that one is the WordPress.com servers do the work for you for free. If you have a WordPress.com account and connect it, so for things like related posts, every time you publish, it'll put a copy of it over there, and when you say, hey, I want to show the related post on this post, it'll run to their server, do all the heavy work over there, and show it on your site, which makes it real fast and keeps your host happier. A lot of the things this does, it does on WordPress.com on your behalf for free and saves your host the burden of that, helps you run faster too. Site stats are similar, where it has a little bit of code on your server, but then does all the heavy work over on their servers instead. Comments, if you use comments on your site, this enhances a little bit. Instead of having to log in, they can log in with Twitter or Facebook or some of those. Kind of nice. You have likes, if you want people to leave likes on comments and stuff. I don't know about that. Subscriptions is very nice. This lets people subscribe to posts and comments and get notifications back by email. I love this as a user on other sites. If I go leave a comment, I usually want to see it's in response to someone else typically, and I want to see if they write back again. I don't have time to remember to go back to a site later in the day and see if I left a comment, but if it has that checkbox, say, hey, email me if other people leave comments, I check that every time. And that way later in the day, someone leaves a comment, I'll get an email and go check it out again. Keeps me sticky back to their site, so it benefits them, but it benefits me as the user too, because I see it. And then the other thing too is, of course, it says notify me if people leave comments, and also send me copies of every blog post that comes out going forward. People can check that and sign up and get all your posts. The downside to that is it goes into like WordPress's email database versus your own MailChimp or whatever, so you can weigh the pros and cons of that. But the comment notifications, I think, are a great feature there. Gravatar hover cards, little pop-ups of your Gravatar if people want. I don't usually use that. Sitemaps, it can now has sitemaps built in, which most of the SEO plugins do, and you need the SEO plugins anyhow for other stuff, so I usually keep this turned off. Let's see, enhanced distribution just kind of pings a few more search engine stuff when you post, which used to be a very big deal and very helpful. Now is of nominal value, but why not? Site verification, if you ever set up Google Search Console or any of those. If you're not familiar with FTP and some of that, it can be a little tricky sometimes to verify, so this gives you a little tool to help verify more quickly. Has some security pieces. You can pay, there's some paid versions now, so you can pay for security scanning. But then you have a protect mode, which again uses WordPress.com, where it kind of uses everyone's collective info to help decide what to protect against. If they see these 10 sites are all getting attacked, they say, wow, that's probably a big attack going, and they make sure everyone else can block them. And then you kind of use the collective mind to keep things secure. Uptime monitor, we use different software for that instead, but it has that, it can notify you if the site goes down. Akismet's kind of built in, we talked about Akismet already. Has site backups you can pay for. We'll talk about other solutions for that instead in a minute. Single sign-on is nice if you're a developer or someone that uses a lot of sites. So what that is I can log in my WordPress.com account, and then any site we manage, when I go to the login screen, I can say, use my WordPress.com, and it says, oh, you're Mickey, you're in. And I don't have to remember names and passwords on all the sites. I can just one-click sign in, as long as I have this turned on and set up on each site. It took a little while to get it set up, and the first time I have to click it and say associate with this account, and it took a minute to get it set up. Now it's great. Go to any of our client sites, go to login and say, yep, that's me, and it just lets me in. So, kind of a nice feature. Appearance, again, there's a lot of pieces in here. Tile galleries, it's kind of nice. Again, we talked about Envira is a good gallery. It certainly is. If you use the normal WordPress ones, though, this adds more features on top of the built-in WordPress galleries. Photon is probably the best value you get out of this, in that it's a CDN, basically, a content delivery network, where it takes every picture you put in a post, makes a copy of it on WordPress.com servers, and every time someone visits your site, it pulls them from there to show all the pictures, which again, your host thanks you for because it's not beating them up, but typically WordPress.com is faster and has networks closer to where you are. You can load the pictures a whole lot faster for your visitors, so it can work well. The neat thing with Photon, though, is that it doesn't put the pictures there, it puts a copy of the pictures there. So it still loads them on your server and has them local. So if you decide, oh, Photon's causing issues, or I don't like it, I want to switch, if you just turn it off, everything still works perfectly fine. All your pictures are still there, it's just going to serve them from your server instead of theirs again. So it's nice that they let you come and go as you need. Carousel, this will take, kind of, again, taking the default WordPress gallery, making it better. Normally when you click an image in a gallery, it just kind of pops up and goes away or loads it in a full window. This will make it a carousel instead. Just by toggling that, if you do a gallery, when they click an image, it pops up, and then you kind of hit next, 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 and flow through your little gallery that way. It's kind of nice. Extra sidebar widgets, just some extra things for Twitter and RSS feeds and all that, and your widget area will show up. You can drag them on in. Widget visibility is not unlike the, what did you say, Genesis simple sidebars, where you kind of choose which widgets show up on which pages. It gives you the ability to do that. Custom CSS, if you're not comfortable editing CSS other ways, but you know you need to add this little snippet in there somehow, you can check this on and put it in there. The neat thing if you do that way is if you update your theme later, this CSS will stay separate. So if you update the whole new theme and this CSS is still on top of it, still make that little change you had to make. Infinite scroll for themes that support it, where you scroll through the post and get to the bottom and, oh, new one's loading automatically. You get to the bottom, oh, they keep loading in. That's just kind of built in there if your theme supports it. Mobile theme was a nice little option a couple years ago, but hopefully your sites are responsive now, so it doesn't really matter. Holiday snow is kind of cute. I don't remember when it starts. It's like December 1st to January 7th or something. You have little snowflakes on your site. The one issue we had is ours turned off. It turns off on January 7th. And we had a client that had turned it on and was mad. Like, make it keep going. So I had to go in and figure out how to make it go longer than January 7th. But it's kind of a cute little. Again, when people talk about bloat in WordPress, in Jetpack, though, this is kind of the stuff they're talking about. I think that unnecessary features, but it's kind of fun. And then writing, it has a few more pieces. So it'll add short links for all your posts and pages. Shortcode embeds, which are largely built into WordPress now, but makes it easier to embed YouTube and Vimeo and SlideShare and all that stuff. Video press, you need a subscription for, so that's more video stuff. A contact form, we use it every now and then. It's a very, very simple contact form creator. Usually we'll do a more robust solution of Ninja forms or Gravity forms or something like that. But if you need just a simple form, you already have Jetpack in there, just use that instead of installing another plugin. It works all right. Spelling and grammar checker. Markdown is kind of neat. Haven't used it as much lately, but it's kind of shorthand code. Where in theory you just type it all in code and have all the formatting built in without having to write code. If you search for Markdown on our site, we have a whole lot of info about it, and cheat sheet and all that. But I was excited when they added that. Post by email. You can email a special address that automatically posts to your site, which none of us in here need, but I actually know a guy that made great use of this. He was sailing around the globe. He sold his house and cars and all that, and was out in the middle of the sea, had a tiny, tiny internet connection that was super expensive. So he couldn't be on like viewing web pages and stuff, but he could send emails out through it, and they'd take a few minutes to send. So he had the address for this, and he'd send emails and it would post on his sailing site, and people could see where he was and what he was doing, and he could post them all day. So for most of the rest of us, no need for that. Beautiful math, makes fancy math equations look nice. Again, kind of edge cases for people that might need that. And then custom content types, I'm not even sure what that does in here, how it helps you build those. Has anyone played with that in Jetpack? And we build lots of custom content types on our own, but I've not done it in Jetpack, so I'm not sure what that does. But so lots of stuff in Jetpack. Again, if you can make use of 3, 4, 5, 6 of those, it's probably worthwhile. If you say, I want it just for that one feature, you're probably better off getting that one feature as a separate standalone plugin. Yeah.
Short links, could you explain that to me?
So when you go to share a post or page, instead of saying, here's the link, Twitter, it's greenmelomedia.com/blog/
Yada, yada, yada.
it'll make it a short one automatically. wp.me/1234876.
Okay, but if I wanted to share the full-length one and then shrink it in Hootsuite to an Owly thing, is that doable?
Yeah, you can still do that. You'll still see the full link. Yeah, it'll just try to automate it in some cases for you, but yeah.
So the short link set is tied into the distribution? Like
I
when you
think it is,
share
yes.
it out
I'm
to-
not sure. I have it turned on this one, but we don't really use it, so I'm not sure. I believe it is, though. If you have the, where it automatically posts to Facebook and Twitter, I think that's where this comes in. It uses then the short links on those.
Okay, so I have to enable it in Jetpack.
Right.
And
But-
what was the enhanced distribution?
So,
You flew through-
sorry, enhanced distribution isn't that important of one. Was in here?
There.
Yeah, that one, it really just, let's see what their wording of it is. No, it's just configuration. Let's see. There we go. We'll see what they say. But I think it's basically just pinging other search engines and stuff to let them know that you have a new, it's not really distributing stuff. That's more, yeah, let's see.
Okay. Firefox.
Flow through WordPress.com, yeah. So it's just getting your stuff out there to be more findable. It's not anything any of us really would notice. It can help a little bit. So again, if you already have Jetpack, you may as well turn it on. But I wouldn't worry about it too much. The one you're looking for is, who's in that same list here?
Size.
Yeah, publicize. Yeah, that's one where you can go in, it'll say, hey, what's your Facebook? Connect to your Facebook and automatically post to there. Connect to your Twitter and automatically post there. But really, I would probably just use Hootsuite instead because you have a little more control in there.
Okay, so
That's
say
what
for
you
example though, somebody's on a blog post and they want to share it from there.
Okay, that's the sharing one above.
Oh, okay.
So sharing is where it adds at the bottom of the post, like, hey, Miller, thanks for reading. Go share this on Facebook or Twitter or whatever. Publicize is, hey, Mickey, you're writing a post. Go share it on your Facebook automatically when you hit publish.
Right, okay, so sharing now.
Sharing is for your visitors. Publicize is for you.
But what happens is they're sharing the full length URL instead of, so I need to do the short link to.
Correct. I think they would fix
Okay.
that then, yeah.
Thanks
So,
for that.
all right. Let's see. Manage WP. So we'll talk about this one a little bit too. This is, again, for folks that manage more than a couple sites. Really, their pricing now, with the new pricing model, works well even if you only have one site, just to keep things backed up and stuff. Carl's company does a great job with backups, but most hosts I don't trust with backups. I'm glad they do it. I like having extras, but I want to have my own too. So that way if something goes wrong, I've got a backup I can get my hands on and get things fixed quickly instead of submitting a ticket and hoping they get to it soon and the site's down in the meantime. So Manage WP, very similar to Main WP and Infinite WP and iTheme Sync and probably some other ones that have come out lately because everyone's doing this now. But basically it gives you one dashboard to view all of your sites at once in terms of who needs plugin updates and who needs WordPress updates and how the backup's going and are things up or down, just kind of seeing everything at once. What's neat with the new pricing the pricing doubled for us, basically, so that was not good, but as I said before, I'd be willing for it to double again because we love them so much and it's so awesome. But for people on the lower end, the prices got a lot cheaper. It's now free to use for as many sites as you want, for plugin updates and WordPress updates, and some of their core features are completely free, and then like for backups, it's $1 a month per site. If you want automated malware scans, it's $1 a month per site. If you want, add in different things, most everything's like $1 a month per site, which, again, for most of you is probably not too bad. For us, it adds up quickly, but again, the usefulness overrides it anyhow. So I'll show you what that looks like. So this is kind of a look at ours. We have 151 sites in here. So it's showing us now, Brooke already went through it earlier, so most of it's caught up with saying, hey, you've got a formal update and a mass share plugin update and a posty update. And so I can even click and say, well, who is that? Oh, Tahini Expedition. It needs to update posty from 184 to 186. I don't want to click it because she's probably already done it. This is the cache version.
Actually, don't update it because it actually broke the site. So.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're not. That's why I don't touch it. That'll do. So, but in theory, you just click it and say, cool, update. And it'll update that for you. Some of these will have, in theory, like if Jetpack has an update, that number will say like 100 because we have that on so many sites. So if you want, you can check and say, yeah, update on those 100 sites. Poof, go. It'll update the plugin on all those sites for you automatically. Really does a nice job.
Do you put that plugin on every one of your sites?
Yeah, every site we manage, we have that plugin on. Because the plugin just lets it talk to this.
And then you manage it from your own site?
And then we manage it from their site, from managewp.com.
Oh.
You manage it from there. Some of the others, Infinite WP and some of those, let you manage it on your own site, and so they're cheaper because you're not using them. We're using their servers for it and all. The reason I like them so well is their backups. With Infinite WP and Backup Buddy and all those, they back up 80 or 90% of websites out there pretty well and then kind of die on the rest that are on just bad hosting or whatever. This, however they do it, backs up 100% of our sites. We have folks on GoDaddy, we have folks on 1&1, we have someone on British Telecom hosting, just horrible hosts out there, and it backs up successfully every time. I don't know how, I don't know why, but it's awesome. So that's the main reason we use it, and then the fact that you can plug in updates and all that is pretty cool. Does other optimizations. You can clean out spam comments automatically just in one swoop. Extra post revisions, we have it set to let 5 post revisions stay in there. If you're familiar with WordPress, you know if you go into a post or page, you can see like past versions of it before you made edits. But it saves all those as separate copies. If you have thousands of posts with a handful of revisions each, it can be tens of thousands of extra things in your database slowing things down. So this is say, hey, keep just the last 5 and then clean out anything older than that. So it's saying, hey, right now you have 2 that are older than that among all your sites. And so a lot of days I'm sure you wake up and that number says like 200, between all our sites. So kill all those. And then there's other database optimizations you can do in terms of MySQL database overhead. So again, just clean it up for me. And if you want, you can optimize all. So go to all 150 sites with those settings and just clean it up for us. Keep things running just a little bit faster. What else do they do? So backups, yeah, so there's some other things in here. So again, backups, 151 sites using backups, everything is fine. You can see what's going on. I have it deactivated on one site. You can clean up comments. There are a few more things here actually, the services. So security, they just added for security and performance automatic scans for that. It used to be you could go into any site, say, hey, scan this real quick, scan that one real quick. Now you can say, hey, scan this one daily automatically. And again, that's where they charge another $1 a month per for that kind of stuff. But our security one we have scan all the time. The performance one we just added, so it says 61 websites are slow. I don't agree with their definition of slow necessarily, but I still want to get those fixed over time, so it's worth checking out. For what it's worth, their slow is they do a Google page speed test and then a Y slow, letter Y slow test. And the Y slow test a lot of times will show a slower number, even if the site's perfectly fast, and say, but there's these things you could fix, I'm giving you a bad grade. And that's what most of those are. The site's perfectly fast, Google thinks it's fast, but Y slow says, oh, you should fix some of these headers, and So I'll work my way through and fix that to make it look better in the reports. But it's kind of nice to have that automatic now. Uptime monitoring, again, we use other uptime monitoring software instead, but this one keeps a record of uptime, which is kind of nice for clients. They say, hey, my site seems like it's been down a lot last month with my host. And I'm going to say, actually, it's down, you were only up 98.2% of the time. And I can tell them exactly what was going on. And if we need to look through your posts or whatever. Has some other SEO and analytics pieces, but I don't really use those. But I'll show you real quick the backups, though, just because the backups are awesome. Just the way it works here. So go into backups. So I've been put all of our dev sites, everything we have I throw in here just because you can never have too many backups. So what's neat on this one, I can say, okay, the last backup was at 1:39 this morning. I can restore the site back to that. I can just download a zip of it. I can clone it to a new site, whatever. I can go back to any other day I want and look at the backups from that day, see what was going on there. That one was at $139 as well. I guess it does it pretty much every day at $139, which is pretty consistent. But I go to any day and grab a backup. What's neat is I click on the content of that backup and say, okay, I just want to download the database. Just get a copy of the database. Or I just had that one plugin we updated and it broke it and I don't have a copy of the old one, so I can go into Files, go to WP Content, go into Plugins, and find that particular plugin. There we go. So, yeah, we don't have much on this one yet. But there's a Kismet, and I can download just that folder instead of having to download the whole thing. So you can get specific files from specific days going back to infinity. They keep them all on there. And again, to have the automatic backups is $1 a month per site. It's just ridiculous. And I think they do a monthly backup for free, but that's not of much value to you, I don't think. And again, your host should have a backup as well, and I'm glad they do, because if by chance this goes down, that'd be great. But what's that?
I said that the monthly one works fine for the people who are not paying.
Exactly.
For myself.
Right, there you go.
Because they will pay when they come back and they don't have them.
Right.
Somebody with just one of their own websites, they don't need this. This is for.
In theory, correct. You could, though. Again, with the new pricing model, you could, because you could go and say, all right, I get the plugin updates and all that, and I get the backups. So your bill to them would be $1 per month, and you get the daily backups. It could be worthwhile, but yeah, probably not. It's meant more for people that manage 5, 10, 100, 1,000, tons and tons of sites. That's
Okay, and this may sound contradictory, but is there a plugin to make your website go faster?
Yeah, we'll get into some of those too.
Oh,
There are, yeah.
cool.
So that kind of goes with some of these, yeah.
I do have a serious question, because I love this, and thank you for keeping after me to start using it.
Yeah, we were on the same old one. Kathy and I both used Infinite WP for years, and it was very good. It was much cheaper, but the plugins or the backups just weren't consistent enough in this. But anyhow, yeah.
I use this plugin for maintenance on my non-paying maintenance clients that I know, for example, will come back at some point in the future when something's broken. Hence, not paying for the monthly not paying for backups. Am I hearing you say that by and large, because of the way you manage your stuff, you are selecting the paid version of those features?
Correct, yes. And they have bundles now where you can buy it's $1 per month per backup, or you can buy a bundle of 100 backups for $25. I mean, their bundle pricing is very aggressive too. So we bought 2 bundles of backups, and so it's $50 a month to do all of our sites. Their pricing is almost kind of confusing because they have so many deals and bundles and discounts, but once you break it down, it really works out pretty well. So in our case, if people don't pay, we don't have them in here at all, but because we do it all for them if they do. If they're in here, we know we're doing backups and updates and everything. But I can appreciate, just a nice place to tuck a free little backup for when they come calling. I can't argue that either. So, and it wasn't too long ago we started adding our development sites in here because again, while we're working on stuff, it's fine, but who knows? Why not have another backup for $1 a month? Absolutely. So, good plugin.
Do you take advantage of the reports that are built in?
We do, yeah. Now they're going to have automated reports soon, but for clients, it's actually an extra fee for clients. But most of them we have it baked into our package. They get a system report every month, and so you run a report. Here, I'll show you. And you can white label it too, but I don't have it turned on here. That's all right. You run a report whenever you want. We usually do it for the previous month. So I'll say last month. This one I don't have uptime monitoring, some of that turned on. I usually turn off analytics and say, all right, cool. You can add an introduction message and add your logo and all that, but I don't worry about that stuff. But then it'll make a nice little report. So again, you can customize it if you want, but it'll say, hey, here's the updates we've done, which typically our client's going to have a whole list of plugins that have updated over the past month, and WordPress updates, and you'll have Genesis or theme updates in there as well. So here's the backups we've done. We have 71 total backups. We did 31 this month. Here's the latest one we have and what it looked like. Talk about security scans. We did 10 security scans. Everything's looking clean. Here's how clean it is. You can use, it'll have the speed tests in here if you have those. It'll have a few other pieces if you add those other modules. But just a quick way to say, hey, client, I know, because web developers get a bad rap for, I've been paying this company, I don't know what they're doing for me. So we want to make sure, here's what we're doing for you. You're paying for it, and so here's a report showing, they don't care what this says, but they say, oh, they're doing stuff. At least they know we're doing something for them there, if that's all they're paying for. So, yes, we do use those a good bit. Maybe on 15 clients, maybe, something like that.
I use the work that I do has no value if nobody else not doing it.
Correct, exactly. And that's where this is so,
Why I
right.
use the report.
Yeah, and the reports are beautiful and simple and do a good job. And you can do more with managing users and themes and some of that in here too, but we don't worry about that. And then it's kind of cool. There's under more tools. You can see exactly what's been going on with the site. You can see like a history is kind of nice just to see exactly what user, what IP address, what exactly happened. Actually, there's not much that happened on this one, but development side. But on a lot of sites, you see this plugin was updated on this day, and this plugin was updated here, and this backup was made here, and you can see exactly what happens when something went wrong. You see, did we do that with an update, or figure out what's going on. So managewp.com and managewp.org is a blog of theirs that is similar to the one I have on All Things WordPress, which is kind of any WordPress news they see, they kind of push it through there. It's a good blog to follow for that kind of stuff. Moving on, Ninja Forms. A lot of form plugins out there. Gravity Forms we skipped because we don't use it much, but it's a great plugin as well. Ninja Forms, Contact Form 7, just lots of good plugins to build nice, fancy forms on sites. Just a little simple contact form or a big application form if they need it, or whatever we might need. Why are we using Ninja Forms, Ash? Do you remember? Okay. I can't remember if there was a reason we did
Their
it.
interface is a lot easier to use, I think, than other form plugins that I've used before. And they're just easy to customize and
Gotcha. And then we use,
nice.
and then we put send grid a lot of times in the back end to actually send them out.
Yeah, and I'm actually not, I've seen a lot, Ninja Form does a lot better of a job at doing
Interesting.
stuff like that. We've had issues with other forms before, but Ninja Forms has been pretty good about actually sending it out, but we still throw SendGrid in there occasionally.
Yeah, 'cause the problem with any of these form solutions is they rely on your web host server to actually send the message. Which again, if you use a ClickHost or someone reputable, that's not a problem, but you use these lesser hosts and their mail function doesn't work, or everything's caught in spam, or they're blacklisted, and so you can use SendGrid or Mandrill or some of those kind of solutions that kind of sit on your WordPress site. If WordPress tries to send any email, it catches it and sends it through their servers instead of letting it hit your server and maybe or maybe not go out. Mandrill is from MailChimp and is awesome, but is now $15 a month. SendGrid, if you don't use it much, which for contact form, if you don't use it much, is free.
It's like you get 12,000 emails a month, I think. which
Yeah,
no
it's
one
ridiculously
touches
too many,
that.
so yeah. Yeah,
When you have, say for example, you have a contact form,
okay.
you had it wild, you had all these forms created, and then you want to look into this and it's better, you did. So if you want to go to Ninja Forms, is there a way to convert those over, or do you have to create all them forms over again?
Typically create them.
Typically great, yeah.
One thing that I do like about Ninja Forms, I just realized or remember, is that they keep the submissions.
Yeah,
So a lot of times if there's an issue with the form and it doesn't send, it still holds the.
yeah. And most of them do that, but you want to make sure, any form solution you use, you want to make sure it keeps a copy of every submission in the database. Partly, yeah, in case it doesn't send, so you still have it. But we have clients a lot of times that get them all, then say, hey, can you send me a spreadsheet of all the submissions from last month? It's nice to be able to say, sure, here you go. Yeah, we used to use one called,
I don't think, to answer this question, I don't think there's a way to export.
Right,
Or you get to read.
yeah, I think you'd have to rebuild them, yeah.
Or hire somebody at EDAs do it for like $20 or something?
Yeah, something like that, yeah, around there. $20 a field. There's other, we used to use Wufoo quite a lot. That's kind of an external form service, which the neat thing there is, again, because it's external, it doesn't use your server at all, and so the mail is very reliable. And for years we used that just because it was the cheapest way to get reliable sends. Now with SendGrid and some of those is easier. And I also like this kind of solution because it's on the client site. The one issue I had philosophically with Wufoo is that we kind of owned their forms. And so if they left us, we'd still be managing their forms for them, which could get a little awkward. It was rare, but again, I want everything in their control to the extent possible, and this allows that more feasibly to happen.
And that's a paid one or a free one?
Ninja Forms is free.
They
Yeah.
have different, like, add-ons if you want to add on.
Yeah, the
So
basic
if you
thing is
wanna do
free.
Constant contact, then you can pay $20 for the add-on, but the basic is free.
And how does that compare to Gravity Form?
Very similar. Gravity Forms probably has more add-ons to it. But I think we like the interface better here. Aaron,
However,
Diane, go over.
the one add-on that I use more than anything else is conditional logic. And if you look at the cost of Gravity Forms, which has that baked in, and you have to add it on the Ninja Forms, it's exactly the same cost.
Gotcha.
So,
Aaron?
I did a talk comparing four of them.
Okay.
Contact Form 7, Ninja Forms, Gravity Forms, and WP Forms. WP Forms is pretty cool. Check it out, but it's also a paid one, but it's done by this Syed. That does,
Side bulky.
yeah, that does
Yeah.
like awesome.
WP beginner and stuff, yeah.
Yeah. I'm a big Ninja forms, like, I would probably make the client pay for that module, and they would continue every year to pay to have that updated. So there's just two different
Yep.
mindsets.
Where's that talk? Is it online?
Asheville this
Yes.
year,
So is it on WordPress TV?
I would assume so.
I think
Okay.
I think so too.
Yeah, so WordPress.tv should have that talk, and yeah, you can spend a lot of time on there
It's
watching.
called like Forums Showdown.
Okay, cool.
So if you pay for these modules and then, so you go out of business or whatever, what happens to the websites where these paid modules are? Do those modules disappear?
Typically, no, it's just they won't get updates.
Oh,
So next year, so which isn't a big deal usually for a while, but there may be a security update that comes along that they can't get. Or WordPress progresses to 4.7, 4.8, and suddenly no longer works because you haven't the updates there. But they don't just go away. So
okay. Thank you.
if you go out of business, by the time they hire another company, they'll still be in good shape and they can,
Okay,
deal with what they want to do.
good to know.
Yeah, good question though. Page links too, very simple plugin we use from time to time, not as much anymore, and we'll talk about another one. What it does, it adds this little guy at the bottom when you're editing a post or page. It defaults to point this content to its normal WordPress URL. But if you want to get rid of a page, rather than just erasing the page and people have a page not found error, you can say, no, have it go to this URL instead. So an example might be if you had an About Us page, under there is our history. And you decide, you know what, that's kind of redundant, we're going to put all the history stuff on our main page. Then you can go on the history page, and instead of deleting it, say, no, just point it to the About page. So if someone had a link to the old one, they just go to the one page there instead. Or if you used to have a page on your site about the fun run you did every year and eventually build a whole new site for it, you say, hey, if they come to that old fun run page, boop, link them to the full site instead. And again, instead of deleting it and then they get a 404 error and figure out what's going on. Just a simple plugin, not a lot of use cases, but it does a great job when you need it. But it's just page links to all that is. Push Press, we've talked about a bit before. A teeny tiny little plugin that adds hubbub support to your WordPress site. Basically, that means it'll go out to Google and other places a little bit faster. Go to people that use RSS readers, like I think I'm the last one, but I love sites that have that. Because again, an RSS reader, I use Feedly to follow all the sites I do. It'll go every half hour, and check to see if there's updates. If you have a plugin like this with Hubbub, it kind of pushes that out instantly. So as soon as you publish a post, I see it in my reader. It doesn't help a lot, but it's a teeny tiny plugin. It doesn't add any weight to your site. It's worth just getting it out a little quicker. And anything like this helps too with duplicate content issues. If you're worried about people stealing your content, which they will, this will help Google know as soon as you publish it, Google will see that you published it, and then if other people copy it, it'll help your case in Google's eyes that, hey, they did it first, so rank them and don't show all the people that copy it. It can be hard, it's frustrating because a spammer copies your content and then outranks you for it. So anything you can do to help Google understand, like, I wrote this first, make them go away and show mine instead. And this helps a little bit with that. Not too much, but again, every little bit helps. Redirection, this is the plugin that's kind of the reason I don't use page links to as much anymore. I think this is kind of the best known plugin for setting up redirects. We use this on pretty much every site we build. It lets you say, hey, this page is now at this page, like times 100. Which is nice. So if you're replacing an old site and they have an old about.html page, Google's indexed, people may have it bookmarked, who knows. If someone types it in, you want them to go to the new about page you built for them, and this lets you do that. Just kind of say, what's the old one, where is it now? What's even better is it keeps track of 404 errors on your site. I don't know if it has screenshots, no. But if people come to your site and get a page not found error, it'll log it inside of this plugin. You can go say, hey, what page have people not been able to find? Like, ooh, a lot of people are looking for that old page, I forgot about it. Next time they do it, have them go here. No, people are looking for this, that was a typo, ooh, but that's a legit one. You can kind of see what people are not finding on your site and set up redirects quickly to help them, the next person then, to find the right way around. On smaller sites that we do, one way we set up all the redirects initially even is we launch the new site and then go to Google and just search for it and click all the links and they all break. They all show up in 404, then we fix. It takes 5 minutes to add all those links and get it perfect rather than having to map it out ahead of time. Again, higher traffic site, you need to map it out and get it done before you launch, but just for a low traffic, simple site, you can save yourself some time using something like this. Let's see, regenerate thumbnails, a great site while you're developing, one you should usually take off after you're done. So with WordPress, when you upload an image, it saves the full image and then makes a large version, a medium version, and a thumbnail version, and depending what other plugins you have, it may make a slider version and a product version and other ones. It makes them all the perfect size, but then if you say, oh, I just edited my WooCommerce, I want the product thumbnails to be a little bit bigger, well, all of yours are too small now. It's going to kind of stretch them and make them look funny. You hit this plugin, it'll run through, it'll take it a few minutes, it'll go through every image you've uploaded, grab the original one, and recrop it to the right sizes, including your new size you made for that one. So it can be kind of nice. Ashley uses this quite a bit as she's developing custom post types and stuff. She's like, okay, I'm going to show the list of houses on the side, and oh wait, we need to make it a little different shape. So she'll fix the shape, but then all the images are wrong. So you run this and recalculates and rebuilds them all for you. So good plugin. Not one you need to keep on your site, but again, for development, it can be very, very helpful. Let's see. Relevancy enhances the WordPress search. The built-in WordPress search feature is not good. Relevancy has a free version and a paid version that both do a good job of just saying, hey, you can kind of customize. Say, my blog posts are more important than my pages. New posts are way more important or marginally more important, or this one page is way more important. You kind of customize and help the search work better. This combined with, now I'm not sure if it logs searches or not, but in Google Analytics you can keep track of what people are searching for too. So if you watch what people are searching for and use something like this to make it better, you can really enhance that on-site search and make it a good experience for your users.
Relevancy does do that as you turn it on.
Okay, Relevancy does log searches too then.
You have to
See.
turn it
I
on.
thought it did, but I wasn't sure, yeah. And again, that kind of thing, you do have to be careful. If you have a high traffic site, it's going to log all the searches, it's going to chew up your database. Yeah, so it may be good either to prune it or just keep it turned off and watch analytics instead. Either way. Here's one for Diana, do you use this? Aaron, either of you?
Never.
Okay, I'm very curious. We were looking at a database one day, and when it indexes everything, it puts a copy of the words all in separate files, but every word it had, the first was the word, and then the second entry was the word reversed, and then it had some other junk behind it. Every one. It said like Aaron, and then like Naira, like just completely flipped, whatever, yeah. It was very, I couldn't figure out why it would do that, and no one's, yeah, oh well. But it does a good job, so it has some reason for doing that, and it does a nice job with search.
RTL sites?
Even that, they wouldn't read the word. I don't know, yeah.
I don't know.
Simple social icons. This is one if you just want to add social icons in your site for your social platforms. It's important when you're looking at social stuff to remember there's two sides. There's here's the links, please go share my content on your social, and then there's the links like, here's our company social media, come like us and follow us and love us. This is for here's our stuff, come like us and follow us. This does a good job of just giving you, I guess, 8 or 10 social networks you can pick. You can kind of see there, you choose the color, and the background color, and the hover color, and, that's really about it. You can't do much else. Yeah.
Is it still compatible with 4.6?
I believe so. Do we use it? We haven't used it. Yeah.
I've not had any issues with
Yeah, they haven't updated yet. So yeah, it is a red flag on here where it's not been updated in a while, but yeah, we've still done well with it.
That's the answer I needed.
Yeah.
Doesn't Jetpack have this too?
Jetpack has the go share this post on your Facebook and go share this on your Twitter. This is the hey, come check out the Green Melon Facebook and Twitter and that stuff. So this is what you put like at the top of your sidebar, like hey, come love us on social media. Jetpack is the go share this great post on your social media.
Oh, okay, so it's not sharing, it's just the
It's just
icons.
promoting your few channels. Yes,
Okay.
exactly.
Thanks.
The thing that's neat about it is it does it with fonts. It doesn't create little graphics, which one makes it easy to change colors, but also makes them load super fast. So it's not little images; it's just one little font behind it, and it puts them all in there.
What does it use, font also?
I believe so.
I think. I'm not sure. I believe so. Social warfare. A few of you mentioned that. Emery and someone else. Emery, tell us about social warfare.
It's premium. It just kind of handles everything that you would want social plugin to do. It connects with Twitter not offering the accounts, the share accounts anymore. It'll connect to a service that does that.
Okay.
It gets all the sizes right. The images that go out on Twitter and Facebook. It just handles everything really well. I just like it. I always install that one.
Cool. Yeah, I've heard good things. Renee Dobbs was the other one, but she didn't make it today. But she uses this one a lot too. This is the one, Miller. This would replace the Jetpack one. This is going to be unreached post saying, "Hey, go share this on your Facebook. Go share this on your Twitter." It'll replace that side of things. So,
Thank you.
not one I've used, but yeah, I've heard nothing but good things from anyone. So,
I use it, it's on my website. I tend not to use it on client sites, just because there's so many more settings.
gotcha. It's a lot to set up and going to. The Jetpack one is if you're already using Jetpack, you say, "Hey, let them share it on Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn." It's easy. This is more cumbersome but more powerful. So, let's see. Soliloquy. If you need a slider, this is the same company that does Enviro Gallery. There's cases for sliders every now and then, but most of you probably shouldn't. Well, that's a whole different discussion. I have a blog post I'm working on for that. But if you need a slider at the top, you have a good reason to have a slider at the top. This is what you should use for it, basically. I mean, there's a few others that are pretty good. I mean, you can make an argument for them, but this is just simple and fast and easy, and they keep it up to date. It does a nice job. The light version's free. The paid one's $50 or something. Just does a nice job. Good slider plugin. Moving on, Security. Carl, tell us how awesome Security is.
Yes.
They're awesome. There you go. You heard from Carl. No. Yeah.
Well, it's free. I like that. They block, block content from, or not content. They scan all their sites, and obviously they block, those IPs that try to brute force. The one thing that I do on this one that I would recommend everybody do is check, alerts that you get. Instead of checking alert me when somebody tries to access my site, I do the opposite. I say, I want to know if somebody actually accessed the site.
Right.
So instead of getting all the, thousands of emails saying somebody tried to log in, and,
Try, yeah.
I want to know if everybody logs into the site because I need to block it.
You should. Good advice.
Yeah, it's just a very good plugin, and it's free.
Yeah. And they have good paid services. Jason Sear, I know in particular, loves their paid stuff. You can pay a few dollars per. He got some deal I can't seem to get. I tried to call and set up see if we get their paid stuff on all of our clients. It was going to be $1 billion. But he has some deal he got with them where he puts all of his clients on it. If he has an issue with malware, he says, "Hey, Security, go fix that for me." And it's part of the plan. They go fix
Well,
it.
that's what we have as well.
Right.
So as an add-on to any of the hosting plans, we have a wholesale deal with Security. So if something happens, we just give them the FTP and they clean it up. They're very fast. They're very thorough.
Your price, I think, is what, $3 a month or something for that? I think $4, something. Yeah, it's something cheap. Yeah, if you have any
From
issues.
them, it's like $90 or something.
Right, it's a lot from them. Yeah. And so we use that with a few clients. We had a couple clients on old hosts that just got hacked all the time, no matter what we did. So moving to ClickHost solved most of it, but then on a few we even then paid for that extra scanning from Security just to make sure. Carl's big push. I mean, if you want to compare hosts, I mean, his big advantage is security. And you can argue speed and features and all that stuff, but I mean, security is where they focus, and we move a lot of clients there for that very reason. That's becoming such a big issue anymore.
So this plugin for security is just an alert system basically?
And it does some hardening and some scanning and stuff, but not a lot. You have to pay to get the good stuff from them.
Okay,
But
so
this will help a
one
little
is
bit.
free?
Correct, this one's free.
Okay.
And then there's all iTheme security we talked about, and we'll talk about WordFence in a second. There's a handful of free ones you can use to get things done pretty well. Table Press, we haven't used in a while, but if you need to build a table on your site, not for like design, but actually to show like a list of stores or something, this is a good one to use. It makes it easy to build tables. Clients can use it without breaking things. It's responsive, does a nice job. I think we have it on a few mall sites we manage, like there's the mall directory map, and here's a list of stores and phone numbers and stuff. It just works well. If you need a table for something to show some tabular data, that's a good way to go. TinyMCE Advanced, Kathy?
I like this for one simple reason. When I look at text, I want to be able to see my paragraph breaks, paragraph tags, and my page breaks.
Gotcha.
Otherwise, it works just like any other thing.
Yep.
But when I'm troubleshooting somebody's website, when I'm teaching especially, I want them to be able to see that their image is in the wrong place because they embedded it in the middle of a paragraph.
Gotcha.
And that's hard to do if I don't have
Paragraph tags. Gotcha. So yeah, so this just takes that editor bar you see in WordPress, but you see the one that's mostly these two, it adds another row at the top and adds some more features in it and handles the code a bit different, like she said. Just kind of.
Yeah. And you can customize those icons at the top. They're drag and drop.
Gotcha.
But my reason for using it is they have a setting that says stop stripping the paragraph tags and page breaks.
Yeah. WordPress loves to help you out with that stuff. Yeah.
I love it when I can remove all the icons up there that my clients I don't want them to use and that they shouldn't use, like smiley faces, and change the font size and font color, and copy and paste, and just a bunch of stuff up there that they don't need.
Right.
And it confuses them, and they mess up their sites if they use it.
Gotcha. Cool. Very good. We have 3 minutes left here, so we'll hurry through these last few. Uber Menu builds the cool giant menus like they have on their site here with lots of options where instead of just a little drop down, it'll open up big menus underneath. It's a little cumbersome and confusing, but I think it's by far the best one out there for that. Ashley agrees, so that works.
I have a love-hate relationship with them.
Yeah, it's cumbersome and yeah, it can be obnoxious, but it's, again, the best of those out there if you want to do cool menus like that. WPMegamenu.com is theirs. It's a paid only. Velvet Blues update URLs. I like this one. It will go through your database and update all the old URLs to the new one. So we use this if we have a staging site, like we're set up, say with Carl, we have the wonderful temporary address of 107.132.162.59/tilde Carl, that's their temporary address. And then it's time to go live, we point the domain name over there, it's time to go live. We can adjust the two main WordPress pieces that look kind of like that. But then we go to this plugin and say, here's that whole long obnoxious address, and here's the real one, we're ready to live, go, and it updates everything in the database to have it be the new one. So we use it when we go live, and then again, disable and kill the plugin once you're done. Because you don't need too many plugins hanging around, but it does a good job for that. Widget CSS classes, this is kind of nice. I don't know if this has the screenshot I want. Yeah, here we go. What this does, it gives you, in all your widgets, it'll add a little piece called CSS class. And you name it whatever on earth you want to name it, and that way you can then specify that class in your CSS. So if you say this one widget on the side is going to be their social media icon, so I put them in there, but I need to be able to specify that in my CSS, and you call that specifically, add whatever name you want there to do it. So it really just adds that box, CSS classes, and then adds their proper class into the code itself. Simple plugin. I don't know that we use it much lately, but
Yeah, actually, I use it more lately though.
okay, good. All right, cool.
Because I found that if you use Genesis and they have the built-in classes for columns, like on the homepage, like if I have 3 widgets in a section, I can use them in 1/3 first, 1/3, 1/3, and
Right.
it's automatically responsive, and I don't have to do that.
Gotcha. WordFence security, the other good security one out there. We use this one, so we use iThemes as our kind of our base one. If there's an issue, though, WordFence I think has the best scanner out there. Has an awesome scanner. I can go in there. It's kind of on demand. iThemes has a scanner, but I can never figure out how to start it or look at the logs. This you hey, do this stuff, scan everything, go. And you kind of watch it go through. Say, I found an issue here, found an issue there, and then here's the issues I found. You kind of walk your way through and fix them, and it does a phenomenal job with that. So for us. And that's in the free one. The free WordFence does that and does a great job. So for us, we keep iTheme security in there running to keep things good. But if there's some kind of issue that gets past that, I'll install WordFence, run the scan, usually clean things up, and then just take it back out, usually. But yeah, it does a great job for that. And there's arguments can be made that that should be the one used instead of iThemes or whatever. That's fine too.
Can you use more than one security plugin, or
You could, but be careful. Kind of like you mentioned earlier, you can use. We have all-in-one security and then WordFence, and they play nice together, but I can't vouch for all of them. They may try to be doing the same thing,
Okay.
In theory, find one that works well for you and just go with it. WP Fastest Cache. Once again, Mr. Emery.
I've started to hate them. Do you still like them?
The Chiva says it all. I mean, it's just.
It's standing still.
It's fast.
You go with the pro.
No, it can have some issues. You just have to watch it, really carefully, and test it every time you update it. But I mean, 90% of the time, it's just, it's just incredibly faster than anything else that I've tried at all.
Gotcha.
So if someone does something faster, I'd like to hear it.
All right.
The issue I have is not with the speed, it's a client issue. Say I go in and I update their calendar event, then
I think you just have to remember to, I think you have to clear the cache. I always
you
clear
do,
it
and I always
manually.
forget it. And so then I get 17 emails. So.
So do you have to clear this? I mean, this is to save the pre-registered stuff in there so that your
Right, they
site
give a
works,
cache, so
right?
WordPress by default doesn't cache anything. What that means is when you say, hey, load this homepage, and say, great, let's run through the files, the index, let's grab these posts we need to show, and here's some pictures, and kind of puts it together on the fly pretty fast.
Yeah.
But not as fast as it could. So yeah, what a cache does is puts it all together and saves all that assemble stuff, and you say, hey, show me the page, and goes, whoop, here it is.
Okay, so what
in-
about the clearing and
So yeah, so the issue is if you update your site, of course, then the cache is old. All these plugins will fix that for you automatically. When you hit update, it knows to rebuild it. However, if you have little plugins, like Kathy had some calendaring plugin or event plugin that wasn't, so if the cache doesn't realize you updated an event, it could cause some issues, and they're all going to have that same kind of problem.
Okay, but this
So-
is good to have.
That was a good one. Is it cost?
There's a premium version, but I honestly can't tell the difference in the premium and the free.
Okay.
Are you a few more dollars?
Oh, besides the price.
All right, and the one we use, and I guess Emery is tested and doesn't like it as well, we use WP Rocket. Very similar plugin, just another caching plugin. Does not have a free version, but it had a very affordable like agency plan. Let me see what that was. Yeah. So one site's $39, with unlimited sites for $199. So for $199, we can have it on 150, however many sites we want to have it on. Very similar to other caching plugins. We just seem to like it the best. The one issue we have, as it were, is they've been updating it a lot lately with more features and stuff, but they're updating it like daily the last couple days. So it's lots of updates, and again, every time you update, there could be hiccups with any of these, and so it's costing us a bit of time. We're doing the updates, and it's kind of having an issue here. We have to clear things, but caching is kind of a tricky bug anyhow. I typically still say, unless you need it, I would avoid it, for a lot of folks, just because it's going to bring headaches. It will make you faster, which in theory can make you rank a little better, which could help your business, but we're talking incremental pieces versus potentially big headaches. So, yeah, use it as you see needed, but...
Do you still use this?
Yes, WP Rocket we use on most of our sites. That's kind of what I'm going through with in Managed WP. So I had 61 slow sites. This, just installing it, it fixes the issues with Y-Slow and makes them fast again, even if it doesn't change much. It just fixes the things that Y-Slow thinks makes the site slow. And the last one, alphabetically, is Yoast SEO. By far the most popular SEO plugin out there. We've talked about it ad nauseum in here at different times, but again, other SEO plugins are probably just as good, better in other ways. This one just does a nice job of having all the pinging built in and sitemaps and lets you customize, SEO pieces on pages. The best and worst feature of it, though, as Diane mentioned earlier, is the lights it has, the traffic lights. Because clients will get obsessed with making all the things green. Let's see, that's a good screenshot. You get some of these sorts of things. We'll say, here's a few issues you have. A screenshot of the whole mess. Here we go. You'll get this kind of thing saying, hey, here's what we see. It's some yellow lights and some green lights, and you usually have some reds in there. It's good advice, but you can spend so much time tinkering around to try to make it happy when your time is so much better spent, like writing another post or cleaning something up or playing with your kids or doing anything else than trying to make one stupid more thing green. But it's still good to look through that, because it can be good, like, why is that red? Oh, he's totally right. I forgot to put it in the title. There can be good pieces in there, but...
Well, it's also dependent upon, all of that is based upon the keyword that you specify above it.
Correct.
And clients are not good at picking out what keyword they should have on any given post or page.
Right, you have to put in a desired keyword or key phrase for a page, and then it does these numbers. That's a good point. Based off that, and that keyword may be totally useless anyhow, So, very good point. So if you've done keyword research, you've vetted your keywords, you know they're good, you put them on there, then it may be good to optimize for them. But in most cases, I tell clients, like, glance at it maybe, but just move on with your life and run another post. We do so much better. So.
I agree.
Yeah, that would be kind of nice. So yeah, it's all in one. And this, I don't know if it imports the other way, but this will import from All-in-One SEO or from Headspace. I don't know if All-in-One will import
I
from.
think it does.
Yeah, I think they go both ways. So if you want to switch from one to the other, you can export all your settings and not have to do it again. So, any other plugins I missed? Anything you guys love? That
I probably missed it. What's your backup plugins?
well, we use Managed WP because it has all the backups in there. The one that does all the updates has that backups. What's that?
Plugins, backup buddies.
Yeah, Backup Buddy's probably the best. But does it have a free version?
No.
I don't think it does.
But it's only $39.
Yeah.
It doesn't play nicely if you're on a crappy home.
Right. That's kind of why I like Managed WP though. The Backup Buddy's $39, which is very fair. Managed WP is $1 a month, so it'll take you 3.25 years to make. So you can argue both ways there. There's
The best backup is CodeGuard.
yeah. I'll argue yeah.
Plugin.
That's worth mentioning. Yeah, CodeGuard is an awesome backup because it's not a plugin. Yeah, they back up from their side. They log into your server and do a backup. The benefit of that over any of these is if your site crashes, you can't hit the plugin to restore it because your plugin doesn't work because the site crashed. CodeGuard can have it on there, and they can actually go push on top and bring your site back to life for you. So CodeGuard does a nice job there.
It is free.
Yeah, it has a free.
Free version.
Yeah, they have a free version, which is brilliant, where it'll back up once a day.
Yeah, daily, and then you only pay if you need a restore.
Yeah, you pay if you have an issue. Then you pay $20 or something for them to restore it. So it's pretty brilliant. You're probably never going to need a backup plugin. A lot of us do, but in theory you won't. But that way you get it for free, and if you ever happen to need it, then you pay to get it back. Back WP Up, I think, is a free one.
You said they restore it? They don't just make it available and say, here's yours, you go restore it.
They can, but they'll restore it for you, though. Yes. Again, because they get in via FTP rather than using a plugin again, they go in with FTP, so that way they can FTP all the files back on for you and fix it. Whereas a plugin you can't restore because the restore button's gone because your site's toast. You know, managed WP is a little better in that I can get in there and see the restore button, but if I click it, it's going to say, well, I can't talk to your site right now, so I don't know how to fix it. You know, and for us that's okay because I'd rather get the files myself and fix it. But for a lot of folks, it's nice to be able to say, fix it for me. So that's good too. So, yes.
I missed it. The pixels?
Yes.
Looking for pixels?
Depends on what theme you're using, really. Like in Genesis, you have Genesis simple hooks. You can just put the code wherever you need to put it. Yeah, it's really theme dependent on what that. There's not a simple solution for it, for like tracking pixels. A lot of times I would just put it maybe in the footer.php file, just drop it in there.
Yeah, but that's what I was saying in my meetup message. I don't know code. I don't
Right.
know where the heck the header is.
Yeah.
And if you have a plugin, there is
Yeah,
one for
I don't-
Facebook.
Yeah, there's one for Facebook, but yeah, it varies. Again, that's the kind of thing I like to avoid using a plugin for if I can, just because a whole plugin just to put a little line of code in the site is overkill. But yeah, I don't have a great answer. I researched it a bit and I've not used them, so I don't. Yeah, if you find one, post and let us know.
Well, you know, there's, I'll find the other one that I use, the Facebook one.
Okay, cool.
Send that to you.
Yeah.
It's in WordPress.
All right, cool.
But
Good.
there's got to be another plugin somebody may have made for, Google AdWords.
Yeah, it could be that's inside of the Google Analytics one. Some of them may have added features to that. I know like the Google Analytics by Monster Insights has tabs and tabs of options and features, and perhaps it's built in there, but I've never had to deal with that. So.
Well, that's the only way to track the ads is this pixel
Right,
thing, and that's
right.
my biggest bugaboo. I can't figure out how to do it.
Right. So. Gotcha.
Dang.
All right, cool. Well, next week, Erica Warren next door. She's gonna be great. You won't want to miss that one.